science, Python, machine learning is not just to go everywhere and be writing code, but the fact that you can translate that into solutions that solve problems that are applicable in industry, whether it's medicine, agriculture, or whatever industry. That's what makes it. That's why we think it's important that we start exposing you to solutioning, translating your numbers, codes, machine learning into solutions in industry. So this afternoon we're going to be looking at using creative solution. I think my voice is loud enough. Can you hear me at the back? Sure. Okay, cool. So how do we use all this knowledge to solve problems in specific industry? For this particular one, we're looking at logistics industry or Okada business in simple language. You know, I need an Okada to go and pick food for me and deliver it to somebody. I need Okada, somewhere. I need to go and pick a good. I need to do something for different things. I'm sure you're all familiar with the Okada business. And the pioneer business that started, the new way of Okada business is Max. So Max is going to be briefing us on how, what can we do? How can we change that industry? How can we use machine learning, Python to make that industry better? And for that, of course, there are two things that come with it. You get some little cash that can buy, that is more than what you pay for Okada rides. Right? It's not chicken change, it's not Okada riding. And also, the opportunity to apply those things within an industry setting through an internship. And I think it's something that we're very excited. So we're very privileged this afternoon to have one of our mentors, who is based in the US. We're very privileged that we have him in Nigeria this week. He's the organizer of this hackathon. This is actually his idea, because he's someone who is committed to building Nigerian talent. For many of you whom I have read his profile, it's a very intimidating profile. He's a Nigerian that we should all be very proud of. He's a Nigerian who has added a lot of value to himself, and I think it's important. He's the co-founder of SeqHub Analytics, based in Connecticut in the United States of America. In terms of his education, he had his first degree in mathematics and computer information system at University of West Alabama. He had his master's in computational biology and bioinformatics at Yale University. And then he had his PhD, Doctor of Philosophy, in computational biology and bioinformatics at Yale University. Please can you join me to give a round of applause to our special guest today, Dr. Very humble, very simple, but plenty of knowledge.
Thank you all, and good afternoon to everyone. It's a privilege to be here. I find that every time I have an opportunity to interact with students or data scientists, as we call ourselves, I think that it is a blessing. I started my journey just wanting to do something in medicine, but at the same time, I couldn't get rid of the computational aspect of things. So with my degree in math, I proceeded to study computational biology, which allowed me to gain an experience of applying computational methods to biological data, and to sort of see on a broad scale how that translates to the industry of medicine. And so I consider myself a genomic data scientist, simply because a lot of data that I've worked with, at least in my studies, was all DNA, RNA sequenced data. So we go from A, C, T, G to this is a gene, and then this is a group of genes called a pathway, and then what do these do in, it could be looking at diseases, right? How are these different between people who respond to therapy, people who don't respond? And I'm sure many of you are thinking in your head, that's classification. Yes, right? So I can sort of bring it down to say that what I have learned to do really, and what we do in my company, SeqHub Analytics, is really ask the right questions. Okay? I think as data scientists, that is our charge. As Dr. Bayo said, yes, we have to be good programmers. We need to know the theoretical underpinnings of what we're trying to do. However, what's more important is asking the right questions. And so at SeqHub Analytics, we pride ourselves in asking and answering the right question. And right, because there are questions that are useless, right? There are questions that you can ask and will bring no value to your stakeholder. So when I say asking and answering the right question, by that I mean working with our clients to understand what their pain points are. Okay? And once we understand what their pain points are, then we are always delighted to help them formulate that pain point as a data science problem. And as a data science problem, then we can say this is our outcome of interest, and then these are the different variables that we are interested in probing to see how they inform outcome. But it always goes back to our ability to ask and answer the right question. And so I think then that this is an opportunity for you guys to take what you have learned, because I've been here twice, and every time I look on the screen at what is happening, it's impressive. You guys can program in Python. You guys know the different libraries that exist to answer different questions. But we're going to take a step back and sort of say all of these that we have learned. This is a company. How can I use what I have learned to benefit this company? But you can't really ask that question, right, until you hear what the company does. So I think it's always important to seek to understand clearly what your stakeholder is doing or what their business is all about. And from there, you get this. See, data scientists are one of the most innovative people I think I've met. Because as soon as we hear a question, if the question is well defined, the way our brains just they calculate, like, this is what I want to do, it's impressive. But I think that just taking a step back to first get a clear understanding of this is this business, and then as our brain is calculating, we can say, these are some ideas I want to pitch that will have value. And so then we're giving you an opportunity to look at a company and say, based on how this company works, or based on what this company does, these are solutions that I think will be valuable. What my word was think, right? Because sometimes you have an idea of what's a great solution, what's cool to do. But that's not necessarily what your stakeholder wants, right? So it becomes a back and forth. And that's what I hope this process does for us. Tayo, the CEO of Max, is on his way. And with his team, you will have an opportunity to ask the right questions. Okay? And you're not going to get all the answers you want today, and you probably won't have all those right questions today, but I think it's a good start to listen to what Max does, understand some of their pain points, but then for you guys to throw out questions that you think are interesting, or solution ideas that you think will be useful. And I think it's important to say that every solution or any solution that you come up with, what defines whether or not it is a good solution is really whether or not it is a valuable solution. Whether or not it is answering a question that is important to the stakeholder. Because if it's not, it's still a good exercise for you. You build your skills. I think we should all be encouraged to do that. So, and Tayo just walked in. So this is our opportunity to welcome Tayo Bamiduro, the founder of Max. he will join us soon. But I think that's all I have to say. I'm very grateful to be in your midst. I'm looking forward to the brilliant ideas that you all threw out. I'm looking forward for good questions. There is no foolish questions. No, there are some foolish questions. but think about, listen to Tayo talk about Max, think about the business, and then ask questions that are related. So if you ask a question that is related to what you've heard, it's never foolish, okay? But just listen. It's always, I think that's one of our greatest strengths that we should cultivate as data scientists, the ability to listen. Listen to what the customer is saying, listen to those moments in their voices that sound exciting, so you know, like, okay, you know, is it route optimization, profit maximization, customer segmentation, whatever they say or whatever you throw out there that sort of gives you this, wow, okay, then those are probably areas you want to focus your efforts with your team. Okay. And I think I've said enough. I don't know what is, should I take questions now or should we wait for?
Okay, so quickly take questions about what you just talked about.
I've talked about everything, a lot.
So, do you have any questions now? At all, questions?
Oh, I should talk about one of the benefits to this hackathon beyond. Okay. Right, beyond the cash will be an opportunity to work with my company for a 3 months contract, and I'll send you, the details will be available, but it's one of the things that I think is the right time. We have the talent here, so why not? But you guys will prove yourselves on this hackathon, and we'll talk more. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so quickly now, because we're trying to round up this session right inside. Okay. Can you all hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So quickly, I'm going to invite Mr. Tayo, who's the CEO of Max. But before I do that, I'll quickly just allow us to understand the way we want this briefing session. So it's going to be a very short session. And so basically is to just run you through what the problem statement looks like, or what kind of problems they're experiencing at Max, or the kind of stuff they're trying to work on. So to now be left to you to explore that space and come up with something very, very innovative. So we'll talk about all the approach, how the hackathon will be organized, and then we'll have time to ask questions, especially about the technical part of the hackathon. You understand? So if you have any questions about the problem space, this is right. This is going to be time for you to do that. And also one thing I would also do is that even after the briefing, right, we're going to create probably a platform or social media online that would give you the opportunity to be able to ask questions. So as you give the explore the data and you still want to ask more questions, so we'll have a channel just dedicated to that. So for example, you want to understand how to run a particular process, you will be able to have access to a particular channel and ask questions. So someone will be here to answer those questions for you for the period that would allot to that particular phase. Do you all understand? So please, with a round of applause, can you not invite Mr. Tayo quickly for his for the brief introduction of Max. So keep clapping on the
Hi everyone. Hello. I'm very excited to have a chance to connect with everyone and talk about some of what we're doing. Of course, your reputation precedes you. Data Science Nigeria has very quickly, in a short space of time, grown to become a force for change in Nigeria and across Africa, to be honest. So I'm a big fan of what's going on here. At the very beginning, when the WhatsApp group was first created by Mr. Bayo, I was part of the guys that joined the WhatsApp group. But eventually, as the group evolved, they had to kick out those who were not data science experts. So I could not reserve my seat. But you guys are the privileged ones who deserve to continue to be part of the community. But I'm a huge fan of the data science community. You know, if you look at the history of development for mankind, many centuries back, right? We've always had very powerful resources, or natural resources, or whatever you choose to call them. But for many years, man could not take advantage of these resources because man did not understand how to harness it, right? So if you think oil and gas, for example, it wasn't until maybe about 100 years or so, thereabout ago, that man had the technology to actually bring it out of the ground and then refine it. And that's why we can use it to power vehicles today, right? Today, I mean, there are billions and billions of bytes of data, petabytes of data that we're generating, you know, with our activities every single second, right? But until we figure out how to harness that data, it will just be sitting there, it will be useless, right? And that's where communities like DSN exist to help us understand and discover the secrets of the new oil. You know, as they say, data is the new oil. I'm sure you guys have heard that before. So, not to go into too much history and all that and bore you guys. The point I'm trying to make is that I'm excited about what's going on here. And Max is also very excited about partnering with you guys, with SeqHub, with Dr. Togo, and Mr. Bayo, and all the amazing people doing amazing things here, to try and figure out how we can contribute our own quota to ensuring that we're able to unlock very viable, very powerful insights from data to allow us to create new products and generate and create a lot more value, not just for ourselves, but for our entire nation and for the continent at large. So talking a little bit about my own personal journey, I did computer science undergrad like all of you guys here. And by the way, you know, if you didn't do computer science or computer engineering, you did the wrong course, right? But you know, some people also make fun of us that there are many people who studied computer science but have ended up, you know, working as tellers in banks and you know, doing government contracts and all kinds of things that have absolutely no connection to tech. And then you have a lot of people who studied some things like history, biology, etc., who are the ones that are leading in the technical fields today. So I think the point is made. It's not really about what you study in school. It's all ultimately about who you are, what you're interested in, and you know how you can pick up these things yourself very quickly. But still, the right course to study is computer science. I studied computer science undergrad, and when I finished, my dream was to actually become a politician, right? Because I felt, you know, why is Nigeria in this kind of challenge? What's going on? Let's just go into government and change everything, right? But eventually, after a while of doing some more research, I realized that, you know, politics is one of the most difficult things you can ever try to do in your life. You don't control the variables, you don't know what's going on, you get in there, you know, you think it's easy to go in there and make a change, and then you get in there, they frustrate you. So I decided that, okay, there must be other ways to change the world. And there's no other powerful way to change the world than technology, right? So I decided to, you know, do computer science and go into tech and figure out ways to build products. But fast forward a couple of years, we are where we are at today, and I think research now shows that one of the highest, if not the highest paying jobs in the world right now are data analytics jobs, right? If you're an analytics person, you can easily command in the US upwards of $100,000 a year very, very quickly. So this is where it's happening. This is where it is happening now. And Max is trying to solve one of the most important problems in this country and across the continent, which you guys know very well, the problem of transportation. In fact, my colleague, our CFO, just sent me a WhatsApp message showing the ranking of the most difficult cities to live in the world today. Guess which one it is? Lagos. So Lagos was ranked as the most, you know, stressful city in the world, right? And we know that traffic and transportation is a big contributor to that difficulty, right? And who's going to fix it, right? Okay, companies like Max and a few others are trying, but beyond just, you know, putting bikes out there and hiring drivers and building an app, ultimately what is really going to differentiate the winners from the losers and those who actually really solve this problem are those who can unlock insights from their what? From their data, right? And there's no better place to access and connect with those people than DSM. So once again, we're very excited, and to show Max's commitment, to this for the competition that we're going to have. Dr. Tugma has volunteered that Max will award $40 million to the team that wins. and I told him that I have $40 million in my back pocket. So once you win, just come to me. I'll give you $40 million from the back of my pocket. But on a more serious note, we don't have a lot of money yet. I know you might have read some reports in the media that we raised some money, but I mean, it's not like it's my money, right? It's for something. But as a journey, right? This is not all that we're going to do for DSM, but it's the beginning. We'll be matching SeqHub's donation of about $500. I think you guys are contributing $500 as well, and that'll be about $1,000 for the team that wins. And then subsequently, of course, we are happy to continue to make commitments in the future. But once again, very excited to be here. A huge fan of what you guys are doing. I'm not smart enough to be part of the community, but I'm training you guys on the sidelines. Very excited to be here, and look forward to doing exciting things together.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, I think this is just quite interesting. So I'm just going to go through how the hackathon would run. I think I don't need the mic, so let me just stop. So I'll quickly go through how the hackathon will run so that we'll move straight into discussing the problem space, right? So, and this is where you need to really pay attention, because this is where the winners will begin to come out, right? So it's just your ability to be able to sit down and then be very creative and be innovative with the data that will be provided to you, and then make sense out of it and create something very, very innovative, right? So I will run through some of the terms and policies and how the hackathon will be structured. And although all this will still be released on media, we'll still see it on our channels, we'll put the proper stuff where you, even before you register for the hackathon, the portals will be open tomorrow. By the way, before you even feel that you would have to accept all those terms and conditions before you proceed, so you have to see them. So just let me tell you now before you even get to that period. So the hackathon will be, the proper hackathon will be on the 3rd of August. That's a tentative date. And then we've set up a challenge, and that's why Max is here. And the challenge is that we need practical and bold machine learning application solutions that can add immediate value to a company like Max.ng. And when we say immediate, so we don't want something extremely too futuristic. So you guys can do this now until like probably year 2050. No, we don't need that, those kind of ideas. We need something that can almost be immediately going to be applied even right now.
I mean, so it's welcome,
So I'm not really using all the judging criteria. So we want something very practicable, something that can really be applied. So we welcome all sort of ideas, right? So don't let me put you down even before we start. Right. So the hackathon holds on 3rd of August. So I'll just quickly go through, and I've given you the challenge already. I'll quickly go through the judging criteria and some of the terms that you should be aware of. So one of the judging criteria is that you want to see the amount of due diligence and research about the company and the potentials that you're pitching to us. We also want to see relevant data exploration, right, and the implementation of relevant machine learning and AI techniques following sound data science principles. We also want to see not just machine learning the code, we also want to see your innovativeness and the practicability of your value proposition. Also, something that's quite important is your communication of the value proposition. So you need to be able to communicate the value proposition. So it means that you have to add a lot of visuals and the ability to be able to communicate your idea well. So be judging based on those criteria. And so you can either register as an individual or you form a team. But the maximum number of people in the team should just be 3. That's the maximum number. So you will not be more than 3 in a team. So you could register by yourself and not register yourself in the competition, or you register yourself with a couple of friends, right? And so maximum people that would be involved in the hackathon will be 3, right? So also we'll be announcing shortly after this briefing, moving forward, we'll be announcing mentors. And the reason why we need to announce mentors is that each team will work with a mentor. And the job of the mentor basically is to be able to help you validate your ideas and solidify them, right? You understand? So make your idea more presentable, and then also help you with a little bit of the technical stuff if you might have issues like that. So it helps you work, especially with your pitch, because there will be a pitch for at least the top ranking teams to come, and then you have a session to pitch and impress the judges basically. Okay. And then before you even enter the hackathon, you must agree to some we call them that time in Nigeria committee members code of conduct. Some of you before you join the class, you have to see some of them and accept. So it's also part of this also some things that you have to accept. And also you need to understand that your ideas are not proprietary to you. So you're giving us free way to be able to implement those ideas. So it will be something that you also be signing before you are entered into the hackathon program, right? So thank you very much. Quickly, I'll just invite. So I didn't get the name. So you'll be able to come and then we begin to. So right now, we're going to do quickly is to talk about the problem space. What are the processes involved in Max operations? So once you are done with that, we'll now give you proper time for Q&A. So ask for questions, they'll be here to just answer the questions as quickly as they can. So I know Dr. Toba has already talked about the reward. So the top 3 teams, top 3 teams.
And maybe like the defined routes that we give to these riders, or the champions rather we call them, and to ride. One other thing we talked about was internally, we just brainstorming just inside there. The last thing.
So I know we for the gamifying thing, you can think of the gamifying aspect as not just the development side, but also the inherent data science questions that are there. Because for you to gamify to foster engagement, you need to understand the different strata of riders, right? So as well as the different champions and where they are frequenting the most. So you can imagine there's already, in retail it's customer segmentation, but I guess we can use the same term here. So there's customer segmentation. You also just mentioned route optimization.
There's also the part you could look at, which is also how do you help this, because we want these champions to be successful. We want them to make as much money as possible. So how do you help them to ensure that, okay, in the morning I know if I go to Sabo, I'll surely get somebody to move from Sabo to the island. Things like that. So that's more around it.
So can you walk through the business process and what the data requirements at those stages are, so that we can that will be able to allow people more.
Okay, so the business process is very plain and simple. It's more around, we have champions all around the city. And for each champion, we know where you are. And by the time I pick up my phone and say, I want to get to the island, internally we're able to see that request and check around and say, yes, there has to be a champion that is very close to you. We'll match you to the champion and say, hey, champion, you have somebody waiting for you that wants to get to the island. Then the champion comes over to you, picks you, and gets you to the island. But in the process of getting you to the island, we are also on our own also ensuring that that ride is safe. The rider is not doing unprofessional things that will cause us issues or that will endanger the lives of a customer. So we have a lot of data we gather, and we're now checking to say, okay, how are you riding? Are you overspeeding?
Okay.
Are
So
you
one thing that you get is the speed.
we get things like that. So those are the kind of data we get because we're more concerned about safety. We're a lot concerned about safety. We have a team that even has like a KPI around safety. You need to like ensure at this point you need to be, as in we have very few accidents. So we check all those kind of things. So those are data points we gather for each trip.
I think I could add something to it as well. So, in addition to what Chiki has said and Tom has said, one other thing also that you guys can look at is so what the three things we actually do is we guarantee safety, affordability, that is making sure that it's affordable for people, and accessibility. Now, accessibility is a very critical aspect of this. Some of the work that we're doing now, especially in partnership with the government, is around figuring out how to progressively transition from the traditional old Okada system that's unregulated and very safe to a more organized, tech-driven Okada system, right? Now, part of the work that we're required to start doing is figuring out why people can hail motorcycles or hail drivers from the app. There's still a big chunk of people who don't have smartphones, who want to be able to access drivers at certain parts of the city, sort of like parks, right? So using our own data and using maybe other data that you can access out there, can you also figure out, what are the top 30 places that we should actually have our own parks, for example? So you want to be thinking about things like population density. You want to be thinking about things like accessibility to highways and all that. So that's something that you could also throw in there. Like, what places should parks that can have maybe 5-7 drivers hanging out? What are the best places in the city that those people those parks should be?
And perhaps the best times.
And at the best times as well, exactly.
These are just ideas, by the way. I mean, and this from the stakeholders, you can glean what is like. These are important pain points, but that should not box you in.
So nice. I think you can ask your questions now. So if there's anything you want more insight on right now, we'll be a good time for you to ask your questions. Okay.
I'd like to ask, how do you manage the folks that don't have smartphones, those guys that flap on the road, and the champions? How do you respond to them? How do you guys manage such data in that sense?
That's a great question. So for folks that don't have smartphones, right, so that means that there's no way for them to connect with the driver, right? Or there's no easy way to connect with the driver. So we use telepathy. And that goes back to the last one that I made, that what's happened is, for those sort of people, there are a couple of other options. They can actually call our support center. Our support center will take their location manually and then manually connect them to a driver within their vicinity. But there's friction there, it's not the most efficient. Another thing we've also done in that area is we're working on USSD technology for hailing, but that's not done yet. Another thing is just the simple old-fashioned way of saying, okay, do you know what? If you're around a particular area, you don't have a smartphone, we need to create like a pool or a station around you that you can always go to. So what we find today is very interesting is some people will take a traditional Okada for about maybe half a kilometer to where they know they can find a Max champion. And then they will then take the Max champion to the island or to wherever they're going, right? But the thing is, if you can figure out ways to make that process a lot more efficient and say, okay, if a lot of people within a particular area that don't have smartphones always need to access a driver, how can we make those drivers as close to them as possible?
Okay, so
Come on, guys, bring it on. More questions.
Any other question? Okay, someone from the back, guys. Then you okay. So you have the floor now.
So I wanted to ask, how do you, so when someone fails the ride, how do you figure out the closest, what method underlying you use to figure out like the closest ride to the
Okay, so you're asking for IP, but let me
So, like I mentioned earlier, we know the location of all our rides in the city. Because not that we like Tyler said, one of the things we are trying to do is accessibility. We need to ensure that we're able to like connect you to a ride. So we have the locations of all these rides across the city. So I know where our rides are. I can check to know where our rides are. So by the time you are booking your ride on your smartphone, with your smartphone, I'm able to know your current location.
Does it happen manually?
No. It's automated. So because I already know where all these bikes are. Your phone gives me your location currently. Every phone has a location. Every smartphone has a location, whatever built into it. If you use Apple, you notice Apple will keep telling you this app is using your location currently. So with that, we're able to like know where exactly you are, and we're able to like connect. Say, okay, we now do that automatic, and then we do a calculation saying, okay, from where you are, who is the closest to you, and immediately we get someone that is closest to you. We'll connect the person and say, hey, you have your ride. Someone is waiting for you at Alagomeji. So he writes to you and picks you up.
And to add to that, if you guys all participate in Kaggle competition, right? And so there's a data set, there's a Kaggle data set. I think it's related to Uber. I think that those kinds of questions that were asked in that competition, and that data set could be an example of what you could expect from this project. So I think that's one way to start. If you're wondering, this data set, what does it look like? I think in addition to reaching out to GK to ask for more questions, I think that's part of the research where you can say a company like Uber is very similar to Max in some ways or in many ways, and is there a publicly available data set that they have used? And are there questions that they've used those data set for? And I think that would be a good start in the research, as part of the research and development of this is my value proposition for Max.
Okay, so yeah, let's have the lady this time, please. let's set it up.
My question is for Mr. Bayo. Okay, so you said you were someone with like
Dapo, yes.
Dapo.
Yes.
Sorry. Okay, so you said you work with medical leaders. So I wanted to ask how do you access the data, because they're actually very, very confidential.
Right.
Right. For you to get data is difficult, so we can do
Right. So the medical data I work with is more of the genomic data. So for every patient, if they go through, if they need to sequence their DNA, they go through a process and they can get samples of DNA and sequence that. Now, when that is sequenced, there's if it is patient data, of course, there are confidentiality terms of agreement that as a student or as somebody working on that data, you have to go through and sign. But for the most part, there are a lot of publicly available genomic data, and there's a TCGA, is the Cancer Genome Atlas, and that has a ton of genomic data, and so that would be a source of data for projects related to genomics. So, but then to actually get the medical data that's relevant to a particular patient, yes, you need to sign confidentiality thing. But the genomic data, there are a lot of examples and a lot of resources for that in databases that are available online.
So I'll just take 3 more questions and then so 1, 2, and then the lady. So quickly.
My question is for Max. You track safety now, you track reacting like and you track your
So please, before you answer the questions, so please, I want you to ask questions specific to the person that can really help you create wonderful ideas, right? Okay.
This is a great question.
All right. So, question was, do we track wear and tear on the motorcycle? And do we track things like fuel as well? So, yes and no. Yes, because we're working on something, but it's not live yet. Wear and tear is a bit more difficult to track. So, I mean, exactly how do you track wear and tear, right? Except, so let me put it this way. The way we track it is the number of times a driver calls in for maintenance-related problems. Okay, so you have, like, if you have to change your tire earlier than normal, right? We can use data on how you brake, how you accelerate, to sort of like predict how quickly you will need to change your tires. Because if you're slowing down very quickly and accelerating very quickly on a frequent basis, obviously your tires will burn out very quickly. So yes, but in terms of other things that are slightly more difficult to track, like maybe like engine reliability, the way we do that right now is just tracking maintenance data and saying, okay, how many times does this driver actually check in at the maintenance site to have their engines fixed for one issue or the other. But there are other things that we are, proxies that we're using or trying to use to figure this out. So for example, right now we have not yet implemented a system that allows us to track whenever a passenger is sitting on the motorcycle, right? So that's a little bit of an IoT solution right there. Maybe you have an idea on how we can put some sensor all over the motorcycle to allow us to track, when someone is actually sitting there, or if two people are actually sitting there instead of one, and other things like that. So yeah, we're not there yet, but we're working on that. I think the second question was around safety. Okay, so for fuel, we are in the process of doing that. Right now, we're not doing that yet, but it's not something that is very complicated. It's just about procuring more advanced IoT and tracking devices that can connect to the electronics responsible for checking the fuel level. And now, realize also that what you can track is also a function of the level of sophistication of the motorcycle that you use, right? So Max, we are unapologetic about it. We use the most advanced motorcycles in the market across all the players today. And we're actually looking to upgrade those to Yamaha FC250s very soon. Yamaha is one of our investors. We're happy to be working with them. So, but the bottom line is, the more sophisticated the wiring and electronics of the motorcycle is, the more data you can actually track.
And I think that's a very good question, simply because it highlights a very important area that is emerging, which is predictive maintenance, right? So if you can forecast that a ride is going to break down at some point, then you can prepare for it. And for the gas use, you definitely save money. It's a cost-saving opportunity.
So, can we have a lady? Sorry, we have three guys.
So definitely we could have a lady. You said if I hear you right, he gets to choose. But I believe just like Volt and Uber, the drivers, they have the phone that has the app. So your champions, don't they have the phone that has the app?
They do. So what I said, it gets to us, it gets to the server. So as an engineer, most times you hear we use words in very funny ways. So like for instance, I won't call my laptop, I'll say my box or my. So that's what I'm saying.
So if I hear it right,
it goes to the server, and the server connects to a champion.
So it cuts down the arrival rate.
I don't get that.
The rider, the champion, to get to me.
Yeah.
It gets to me on time.
Yes, it should.
So I'm sure that part of the reason why this Max was established is to cut down arrival rate, because in Lagos, hustle and bustle, I need to get to places quickly in times of emergency. So will you agree that you've been able to achieve that as well?
Of course. So what happens is the server we're able to connect. Request comes in, goes to a central server. And central server is looking at who is around you and is able to place you and be able to connect you to that person. There are some other people who implemented something where you have to call, they'll give you 5 or 6 numbers to call. That is not efficient in any way. But if I'm able to tell you are in an area, and instead of you walking out of your house, what I do typically, not because I work for Max, what I do typically is I'm going out just before I'm setting out of my house, I hail a bike, then walk to the gate. By the time I'm getting to the gate, I'll most likely have a bike coming on the way or almost at my gates already. So it reduces, of course, the time it takes you to come out, go to the roads, start looking for a bike, and negotiating the pricing for your where you're going to or not.
Yeah, okay. Let me also just add a little bit to that, because what you're asking is both a technical question and a business question, right? So the speed, I think you're really most concerned about how quickly do you get a driver. So like he said, like you just said, when we said the request comes to us, what we meant is what he said, it comes to our server. We have the location of our driver or our champion. We also have your location as a customer. And then we make sure that we connect the customer to the closest driver or champion to them. We also realize something that the subject of lag, or the time it actually takes for a driver to get to you, is a function of two things really, which is number one is the efficiency of our matching algorithm. The second part is actually a function of the number of drivers we have, right? So let's say you are hailing a driver in Okobomaiko, and we don't have a lot of drivers in that area. Maybe there are just 2 drivers around that area, right? It might take 10, 15, 20 minutes for the driver to get to you just because no matter how efficient the algorithm is, you have only 2 drivers for that entire area. But by the time we double that or increase the number of drivers in that area to 500, right? The wait time will be a lot less. So speed is a function of the efficiency of the algorithm on one side, which is our technology, right? But also the number of drivers available around the city to actually service customers. So as demand increases, as we have tens of thousands of people placing requests per second or per minute or per hour on the platform, we also need to scale up the number of drivers available to service them. Otherwise, if demand is way higher than supply, then there will be too much delays for customers. I don't know if that answers the question comprehensively.
So the lady.
You can have a seat.
My question is, does customer feedback influence your safety measures? That's one, because if the customers don't have a smartphone, how do you measure those ones? Their feedback as regards to safety. And when do you call? You said you call back the rider if he's overspeeding, or is at the end of the day, do you get an immediate reaction to that?
Okay, fantastic question. So I'll repeat for everyone's benefit. I don't think they get at the back the question. So the questions were, number one, how do we capture customer feedback and use that to enhance safety? Especially for customers that don't have smartphones, right? And then the second question is,
If you get like a buzzer or
okay, and then how do we pull the drivers back when we need to train them on some issue? Fantastic. All right, so let me start with the second question. We have a full-fledged driver experience team that manages quality and training for drivers or champions. So what they do is that they schedule them for routine training, right? At the same time, when there are exceptions as well, we also have a driver, what we call a driver performance team that's tracking all the data that we're capturing on drivers, and then interpreting that data to determine whether a driver needs to be pulled back in for retraining or sometimes for suspension. And if it happens over and over again, we actually have to transition them out of our platform if they refuse to take feedback and refuse to improve on their safety scores, right? So there's a team that schedules them for that. We communicate with our drivers in-app. We have a messaging system that we've built into our platform so that allows our driver experience to really send messages to the drivers, right? And of course, if you do that and the driver doesn't show up, we have our own task force that actually can go on the field to actually go and retrieve the motorcycle and get the driver to come back in with a bit more encouragement, if you know what I mean. The second thing is how do we capture
the customers that don't have
customers that don't have smartphones. So that's a tough question, right? Because if the customers don't have a smartphone, there's only other slightly more manual ways they can reach out to us. So we have a customer hotline that they can call to actually report a driver. Every single driver has a number, a unique number on their helmets and their motorcycles as well. So you can say, okay, I had the right today on Max bike 567, right? And this is what happened. And then of course we have a team that will investigate that, to make sure that what was reported is dealt with. And you can also tweet at us, even though we don't like you to tweet negative things publicly. But if you can also tweet at us without insulting us and abusing us, right? You can say, okay, Max, you guys are doing a fantastic job, but I had a bad experience today. This was the driver number. We're very quick to respond to you as well. So you can call the hotline, or you can tweet at us, or send us an email, or whatever channel works best for you.
What I'm even asking is, if there's like maybe 3 callings where a customer can click maybe speedings, average, high, or like at the end of the ride.
Okay.
And then these other group of people that don't even have access is until there's a major problem that they can call.
Yeah.
So that there'll be a gap where they can't even relate this information as regards to safety.
Fantastic, yes, true. For customers that have smartphones, we can capture a lot more accurate data from them than from customers that don't have smartphones. So maybe you can come up with an idea for us that can bridge that gap. Guys, come on, take it on.
So I think that's all the questions we have. Wow, good questions. I think we are out of time. Let me see. Okay, so you can stay back and answer questions. Awesome. So I'll just take one more question now. But this one has 8 questions, so why do not take your own question? So maybe 1 out of the 8. Or you take 1 out of the 8. Okay, so we have pick the one you really want, and then you will take questions from Nikki, and that will be the. Don't worry, you will stay behind. Actually, answer some other questions.
Flag the max, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you already have the GIS that is telling you real time of how people are gathering. For example, that is telling you that already. The other question, you have that, and
do you have a GIS system?
A GIS system, for example,
You have access to that.
For example, if for a particular time, the number of people at a particular bus stop, yes. Do you have that already?
Okay.
Yes, and then what do you have an insurance covering the customer?
Okay.
And to what extent? How robust is it?
That's the question. So the questions are if we have insurance for passengers, not just our drivers, we have for drivers, we have insurance for passengers as well, our users, our customers. And then the second thing is that do we have a GIS system that's reporting on congestion and all that, and the number of people that are requesting or that want to request for rides, or just people around the city in general?
No, I mean, like bus stops. So you
bus stops, okay. Fantastic. Okay, so first question is on insurance. Yes, we have passenger liability insurance, which means that whenever you get on a Max bike, if anything happens to you while you're on that ride, you are insured, and we cover your medical expenses up to a certain limit. I think it's up to about 100,000. I'll check. I need to verify that. Then, second question is, do we have data like a sophisticated GIS system like SEO or whatever it is that gives us insights into the number of people at certain bus stops or locations that are looking for public transport, looking for transportation? That we don't have yet. What we have right now is data that we gather from our own app. So based off of our registered users and how they're moving around, or users that are placing requests. So we are not using our app to track everywhere you are going like Google. We are not doing that one, right? But if you're trying to make a request, all our customers are tracking those requests in real time. Now, what you're describing is very interesting, and it's something that sophisticated cities have. So it's not just something for maps, because this is really going into the area of like smart cities now, like having sensors, devices, and trackers installed all over the city that's essentially tracking foot traffic and reporting on that. That's something that, to be honest, if investors give us like $100 million, we'd love to do that across all of Lagos because it's quite expensive. But it's something that someone needs to do soon, and it's something that we are looking to actually do ourselves. If you can raise the funding and we can get some sort of partnership with the government, but that we don't have yet.
Okay, so one more question and then we
Okay, so the data will be working with the Hackathon. How is it structured? What are some of the features? You can just explain that data.
I think we'll get into that when we get the request around what kind of data to provide. Or basically, I can just say we use a major databases are Postgres and MongoDB. Basically, these are the two types of databases we use. So you put in your mind to understand how our data is structured. But with requests, when we have that request, we know what we are providing.
So both structured and unstructured data are available. And I think part of this process really is a back and forth between you guys and the company. So I think those will become more concrete once you have questions.
So basically, the hackathon the briefing session was also structured in such a way that we could get some of the kind of questions you're asking, and that could inform us on the kind of data that should at least be made publicly available after anonymizing them, definitely. But these are kind of data. And that's why I was pushing that we ask more technical questions that can inform us on the kind of data that should be provided. But it seems like we are more interested in this question. Yeah, so thank you very much. The brief session will end here. And please a round of applause for So I'm very enjoying this thing. I take some like 3 more questions before you take. But okay.
And then one last thing I almost forgot to announce. I don't know if this was about it earlier. For everyone today, if you provide us your email address, we'll give you credits on the Max app or on the
Thank you very much, guys, for coming for the briefing session. So we have to just start. Can we say a round of applause for them again? So if you have any other questions, you can see. Remember that the portal